right, we continue on with the 2020-2021 SoCon Basketball Media Day, now joined by UNCG head coach Wes Miller, entering his 10th season there in Greensboro, North Carolina. And we will begin with an opening statement from Coach Miller, after which we will open it up to members of the media for questions. So, Coach, feel free, go right ahead. Give us a sense of your thoughts and experiences going into 2020-2021 here.
Well, it's unprecedented times for college basketball, and so it's been a little unique here in Greensboro in terms of preparation for the season. But I'm sure that that's something that everybody can relate to out there. I really like our group. I feel like I've said this the last couple years, but I think this may be the deepest team I've ever coached, and I felt that way the last couple of years, and I feel like this team's even deeper. We legitimately have 12 or 13 rotational type players. We're not going to be able to play that many, so practices have been really competitive. But with Isaiah Miller returning, obviously that gives us great experience, along with Caleb Hunter and guys like Mohamed Abdul-Salam and Angelo Allegri and Keyshawn Langley and some guys that have played, lots of minutes and had lots of experience in college basketball to this stage. So, we're really pleased when we got the news in August about Isaiah returning, and we feel like we have a very competitive roster. We feel like we have great pieces. We feel like we have high character kids. So we like the pieces in place. And I think for us at this point, it's just about getting the kind of practice time that we need and getting some of the experience we need to try to become a great team. So we're not a great team today, but we hope that we can be as we get into league play. And then certainly the goal is to be the best we can be in February and March at the end of the season.
Thank you so much, Coach, for that opening statement. We'll now open it up to members of the media. Just a couple of quick notes. If you will make sure to unmute yourself before you begin to speak, and then if you would for us, remute yourself whenever your question is complete. And please identify yourself, both your name and your media outlet, as you ask a question for Coach Miller. Go right ahead. Who's going to take the first one?
This will be the shortest press conference ever. I'm happy with that.
We got a good-sized group in here, so we'll see who speaks up. Who's got the first question for Coach Miller?
Hey, Coach. Luke Glidden here with W1 News 2. I'll break the ice. Considering everything that's gone on with the coronavirus pandemic and the roster you have and everything along those lines, what do you think – I know it's still early, but what do you think is the greatest strength maybe of your team before the season begins, and maybe something the greatest weakness or something that you can pinpoint?
Yeah, I think two things with strengths. I mentioned the first one already, which would be our depth. And it's not coach talk. I mean, we think we'll have 3 to 4 guys that would probably be rotational guys on any other team I've coached that won't get in the game, potentially when we start playing in a couple weeks. So I think we have tremendous depth. That's a strength. It honestly at every position. And then the second thing would be our size and versatility. We have 5 legitimate front court players. So we have some big guards and big wings. We could play with really big lineups. If you think about Isaiah Miller, point guard, who plays a lot bigger than his height with his wingspan and athleticism, and Caleb Hunter at the 2, and guys like Angelo Allegri, who we played the 4 over the years, we're now playing him on the perimeter at the 3, or Jared Hensley, who's a 6'8" freshman at the 3, then with 2 traditional big guys. And we added the 7-footer in Hayden Koval that has a lot of rim presence and length. So, I mean, we feel like we could play these really big traditional lineups, but we also have the versatility to play small, where we played the Langley twins together with Isaiah, and then maybe you slide one of those small forwards to the 4 and play small ball. So we feel like we have a lot of depth, a lot of size, and a lot of versatility within lineups. I think those would be some of the strengths, at least at this stage, so early. Weaknesses that are obvious, and this has been the case with our team the last couple of years, is, our ability to shoot the basketball. And we have some guys that had great off seasons, so we hope that is improved. But I think we were the 350th best team in free throw percentage last year out of 353. That's usually a pretty telltale sign that you're not a good shooting team. We feel like people have kind of dared us to shoot a little bit the last couple of years. So we are a little concerned with our shooting, and that's probably a weakness going into the year. But I hope that we have some guys that have spent time in the offseason in the gym addressing that.
Hey, Wes, this is your favorite SID. Can you just share a little bit about how you guys are embracing the preseason attention and what it means for the program? Obviously, I know preseason you still got to play games, but just to even get a vote in the AP Top 25 kind of speaks to what you've done, you and the program have done over the last few years. How cool is it for not only our program but for the university?
Yeah, I think, Rob, and you are my favorite SID for sure, man. But no, I think about it two ways. I think the first way is that it's neat to be recognized, and there's value in that, and value in the sense that it says a lot about what we've done as a program previously and what some of our current players have done previously, that people think that highly of them going into the year. So I think there's value in that, and the recognition is great for our program and our university on whatever level, whether it's where we're preseason in league standing or whether it's a vote, preseason vote for the AP Top 25, things of that nature. That there is value in that. I think the other side of the way I think about it is in terms of this specific team right now, and it doesn't matter at all. I mean, it doesn't matter one way to me when I'm thinking about this specific team, because we haven't done anything yet to deserve it or earn it in any way. So again, I in a big picture program way, university way, past history way, I'm very proud of it, and I value that. When it comes to these guys that are out there practicing every day right now, we shouldn't pay any attention to any type of predictions, because that stuff goes out the window when the ball goes up.
Wes, this is from the News and Record in Greensboro. Being picked by the coaches to win the conference, you've been to the NCAA tournament in your time. You almost took down Gonzaga. What is the next step? What's the ceiling that you want to break through with this program to take that next step?
Yeah, you guys are going to hate this answer, but it is what I really believe. It's just to get better today. We've never approached our program in terms of tangible results as next steps. We've always approached it as, can we become a better team and grow today, and become a better program and grow today, become a better individual coach and grow today, become a better individual player and grow today. And we've always felt that if we'll really embrace that type of mindset, then those results will follow. And in some ways they have. And so that's kind of how we continue to approach it. But I think you look, and not just UNCG, but you look at our conference as a whole. You've had a lot of programs that have approached it that way, and the national attention starts coming. So those seem to be some of the next steps. If you can get out of that regional type of mentality as a program and be thought of as a national brand or a national program, I think that's what our university wants. I think that's what a lot of programs in our league want. I think that's what our league deserves from what we've done. But we don't think about all that kind of stuff as a team. We're just focused on getting better every day.
You talk about getting better every day. How does an Isaiah Miller get better every day? And kind of where does he fit into, I know you didn't coach these guys, but into the hierarchy of UNCG basketball history with the Scott Hartzell or Kyle Hines? I know those guys come back and are around your program from time to time, but what does he have to do every day to get better, and where does he fit with them?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, I'll tell you what, every day I coach Isaiah Miller, he gets better, which is scary, and the credit goes to him. He has an elite approach to practice every day. He is the most competitive player within a practice that I've coached in 10 years. And, I say he's human. He's probably had 1 or 2 days in the last 3 years that he wasn't 100% with his effort, 100% in a great mood, 100% with a great attitude. He might have had 1 or 2, but it literally may only be 1 or 2. He's almost 99.9% of the time the same every day. And that's why he's had so much growth and improvement. There's plenty of areas for him to still grow and improve, which is why I think he came back for a senior year. he can take the things that he excels at defensively, and he can do them more consistently. And he's been working really hard at that. I think part of that's just getting in better condition. Today he's in the best condition I've ever seen him in. He can obviously improve his shooting, and he's worked really, really hard at his jump shot this offseason. And another area that we've really identified is just his decision-making and playmaking. Because, again, he drives the basketball, and usually there's 5 jerseys trying to guard him and stop him from getting to the rim. And so he's got to do a better job, he knows, of finding the open guy when he gets guarded that way. And, again, we've seen growth in that area already, and there's still growth in all of those areas yet to come. So, I hope that answers your question. I think he's still got a ton of room to improve, which is scary. And the reason he keeps improving at this crazy rate is the way that he approaches it every day. In terms of where he fits in our history of our program, which I'm, very well versed in the history of this program and proud of it. I think that book is not finished yet. And so I think what he does this year will certainly play a role in that. But to this stage, he's already one of the great players that's ever put the UNCG jersey on. I don't think anybody can debate that. You mentioned Scott Hartzell and Kyle Hines. Courtney Eldridge and Francis Alonso were in that same discussion as well. And so maybe among some others, but Isaiah Miller's already in that discussion. But the cool thing about him is that the book's not finished yet, and he's got a final chapter here in his senior year.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach. Eddie Hughes with Spectrum News here. Yesterday, Isaiah really set the tone in practice, I think, for you guys. Have you seen your players kind of – we talked about how you have to pick up things in practice to try to emulate what games are going to be like without the exhibitions and everything. Have you seen your guys kind of do the same thing like Isaiah did yesterday and try to challenge each other during these practices to get ready for the season opener?
Our practices have been incredibly competitive. I think there's a sense of urgency with this. And we missed the first 2 weeks of basketball practice due to a quarantine. So I think when we got out of that quarantine, there was this incredible sense of urgency to try to make up for lost time. And then we have this depth and this competition for playing time, unlike any team I've ever coached. And so the practices have been very competitive, tons of high energy, contentious at times. But I think that's what we've kind of always tried to be about here in our practice environment. And we feel like that's the best way to prepare for competition. As I mentioned yesterday, Eddie, we're concerned with the first time we take the floor and see another jersey. It's a real game, but we're not alone. Everybody in the country's got the same dynamic. So we're trying to play a lot more live basketball in practice, a lot more scrimmage-type basketball in practice than we ever have, because we know that we got to have some dress rehearsals for games because we don't have those 2 scrimmages this year against other opponents before our first full game.
Thanks, Coach.
Sure.
We've got time for just a couple more questions for Coach Miller. If anyone has anything remaining they would like to ask, a couple minutes remaining with Coach Miller. Anyone at all? Okay. Thank you so much, Coach, for being gracious with your time. We appreciate you, and we wish you all the best this season.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right. That's Wes Miller from UNCG. We get ready to continue here in just a moment with Bucky McMillan of Samford.